Good morning and welcome to the weekend roundup show. I'm Lee Judges and we're looking forward to, another weekend of controversy. I think some fantastic football, if I'll be honest, and also what you have to say, some disappointment if you're a Arsenal fan, without a shadow of a doubt. First of all, let's go through the results. Let's go through the results. Saturday's first, a little bit harsh for us, really, but where we go. Liverpool, of course, Palace 1, Liverpool 2, Brighton 1, Burnley 1. Very, very good point for Burnley. I thought that Brighton flying at the moment, and Burnley starting to show signs that they can stay in this league, so that was good for them. This is a good one. Manchester United 0, Bournemouth 3. Dear, oh dear, oh dear. Sheffield United 1, Brentford 0. Fantastic result for Sheffield United. Change of manager, and that's what happens, isn't it? So, other teams will be looking at that. One of those teams will be looking at be Nottingham Forest, but a very, very credible draw at Wolves. 1-1 there. Wolves 1, Forest 1, and then the big disappointment from the Arsenal point of view. Aston Villa 1, Arsenal 0. I didn't think Arsenal deserved that. We'll get back onto that in a moment. Like Everton 2, Chelsea 0. Everton turning the corner. Congratulations to them. Well out of the relegation zone if it weren't for those 10 points and looking like they're going to be safe there. This is an unbelievable result, by the way. Fulham 5, West Ham 0. After West Ham last Thursday put on that fantastic performance to beat Spurs, to then go to Fulham and lose 5-0. Well, I don't know how West Ham fans are feeling this morning, but I think they'd be a little bit disappointed about that. Luton 1, Manchester City 2. Said before that game that Luton will be a very, very difficult place to go to after what I see on Tuesday night. The proof's in the pudding. Manchester City found a way to get through in the end, but it weren't very easy at all. And the biggest disappointment for me was Spurs 4, Newcastle 1. Not the result, and that I did expect Spurs to win this game, but really Newcastle very, very poor. We'll have a little bit of a chat about them as well. But the league table, of course, has changed now with Liverpool being top of that. And controversial maybe, but they got the job done. 2-1 victory at Crystal Palace. Another late goal, of course, last week against Fulham, went in the 4-3. So listen, they're getting the job done, and you have to give credit to Jurgen Klopp. He's changed all the midfield, and he's got them at the top of this league at the moment, and it's going to be a real difficult job now to get in front of them, I think, in the next couple of weeks, because if to do that, I think we're going to have to go there and beat them in a couple of weeks. So Liverpool playing really, really well. Midfield looks like it's being sorted. I think that they're in a very, very good position at this moment in time. And it'd be really, really interesting to see where they go there. But I thought, I haven't really only seen the highlights because we was travelling when Liverpool were playing. But I think at the end of it, didn't start off well. I thought that Crystal Palace, by the way, were a difficult opposition to break down, lack a little bit of threat, but then got in front with a penalty, and then two harsh bookings, wasn't it, really? Come on, let's be honest, sending off to that. Then, of course, that changed the game. And this is what's happening, I think, in the Premier League at the moment. Big decisions are influencing games, and we'll talk about that as well. I just felt that it was a little bit harsh. I think, you want to keep players on the pitch, and especially when I see some of the tackles yesterday, Ayu's now got to take a ban when there's certainly other players that have got to take bans. So I feel it was a very, very harsh way to go. But listen, we've been on the back of them, and of course then Liverpool take advantage of that, don't they? And they win the game. No criticism from Liverpool's point of view. They've just got to get the job done, and they did. And well done to them. They're now top of the league. Let's just talk about the other game on the Saturday, which was a big game. Before we go into the Arsenal game, I'm shocked. Manchester United 0, Bournemouth 3. I actually, when Bournemouth went in front, I actually said, Man United will still win this game 2-1. I'm absolutely shocked that they got stuffed 3-0. Could have been even more. And Bournemouth, by the way, deserved to win the game. It wasn't like it was a smash and grab. I thought that they deserved to win the game. I don't know how Man United are feeling at this moment. They had a good result against Chelsea, and then realistically let yourselves down. I think really, like, you know, players at that club at the moment just don't seem to be playing, and you know, long may it continue. Really, they've got a massive game against Bayern Munich. I think that's Tuesday, isn't it? I think they play same day as we do. So if they play that game and lose that game against Bayern Munich, be interesting to see what sort of team Bayern Munich play, because they've already qualified and topped the group. But if Manchester United were to not qualify for the next stage of the Champions League, I think there could be a lot of pressure on Man United, and very, very inconsistent at the moment. And that was the biggest shock for me, if I'll be really honest. The one thing, of course, I didn't really enjoy that big defeat for Manchester United, because obviously, like, half hour later or an hour later, we're kicking off at Villa Park, and within 7 minutes, Arsenal are 1-0 down. And I'm going to be really honest, I felt we deserved to get more out of that game. Disappointed, frustrated. I'm still a little bit frustrated about the way it happened and everything like that. Now, there was lots of controversies in the game as well, the penalty, the handball. But let's just talk a little bit about VAR again, because for me, I think it's a disgrace now. It's getting worse and worse and worse, and it is actually ruining the game of football, I have to say. I'm going to give them the benefit of doubt for the penalty. I'm going to give them the benefit of doubt for the goal. I think if they really wanted to give that, they could have turned around and said, you know what, Eddie got a touch on that, so it's a goal. Listen, it's not really VAR's fault that it wasn't given that one there. It's the rule. It's a stupid rule. We all know that. But I think that they could have, you know, in football, it's all about scoring goals. And, you know, realistically, like, it looked like to me doing everything they can not to give it, where perhaps they could have actually have said, you know, we could have given it. But listen, it's a difficult one, and I'm not going to go on to that. But what I will go on about is the elbow on Eddie. I've seen it 3 or 4 times now. It's a blatant red card. I see players getting booked for kicking the ball away. I think Douglas Luiz got his 5th booking for kicking the ball away. Oh, naughty little boy. You know what I mean? Like, not endangering anybody on the pitch. You can have a little go at the referee, yellow card. You can do little things like that. But an elbow like that, which is definitely endangering an opponent, no reason for it, nowhere near the ball. VAR look at that and choose to do nothing. Who are these people running this game of football? Who are they? Because they're a disgrace. They're embarrassing, and they're nicking a living out of all of us football fans. It's an absolute joke. Not just that one. I'm going to go back. I'm going to go on to a couple of them. The Luton one. You know, I don't want Manchester City to win the game like at the end of the day. But come on, is that not endangering an opponent? You're not endangering an opponent. I've seen Tommy Asu get sent off for holding on the ball for too long. I've not seen that happen since, by the way. Not happened since. You know, made up that rule in the first couple of games and then done it again. And then we go on to Romero. Look, there's nothing against being Spurs biased and all that like that. That is a red card as you've ever seen it. Now, Spurs fans are all moaning and groaning about Matty Cash last week, or the week before, or whatever it was, when they injured Bentancur. I don't see one of them turning around and saying, oh, that was a bad tackle and whatever. Like, they're very, very silent about that, because they know. VAR look at that and feel that that's not endangering an opponent. And I'm going to be really, really honest with you on this one, because I want to give it a little bit of fairness to it. Is that worse than the one that he actually got sent off for against Chelsea? Because the one against Chelsea actually wins the ball, but it's an aggressive. They turned around and said he was sent off because it was aggressive, you know, and endangering an opponent. Well, he actually won the ball, but you know, in the context of football now, that's a sending off. But yesterday's one's not. Yesterday's one's not. be very, very interesting to hear what Dermot Gallagher's got to say about all these incidents again today. Like, you know, because it's getting worse and worse and worse, and it's not just the Arsenal one. It's all over. I'm watching incidents. I've watched 3 incidents yesterday where 3 players should have been sent off. Looked at the VAR. The person in the VAR has looked in it and felt that that was not the right decision to not send them off. Pathetic. Absolutely pathetic. VAR and the people that run it are pathetic, useless people. Howard Webb, since he's turned into this, got this job, it's been worse. It's nowhere near better. It's been worse. And I'd love to hear what the reasons why you have not sent off those 3 players, Howard Webb. That's what I'd really like to know. Why those players were not sent off, in your opinion, and in the referee's opinions and VAR, why they were not sent off. We won't know, and that's where it is. And football is being ruined by it. It is being ruined by it, like, you know. And there's always controversies with decisions and things like that, and I get that, like, you know. And the Arsenal handball, I have to say, the rules are if it's your hand, it's it's not a goal if you're for an attacker. If it's the arm of a defender, then it's okay. Apart from when you're at Chelsea and you're Saliba, of course, like, you know. But we won't go into that. We'll let that one slide, like, you know. So there you go. So it was another eventful Saturday, I have to say, like, you know. But one of the great things that I would say is that I think that after the 5-0 drubbing of Fulham, I would say that Forest and Mr. Cooper there, like, done a very, very good job to get a point out of that game and keeps him in a job. I think he deserves it as well. He deserves a bit of time. Of course, now I think it's a massive game for them on Friday against Tottenham, who looked like they were back to their best yesterday. That'd be an interesting game, but I think Steve Cooper deserves a little bit more time. And I think because of what happened with Sheffield United and what happens with the result against Sheffield United, a few of those clubs that are struggling a little bit there, that the owners will be looking at that and thinking, oh, look, well, they've got rid of their manager. They've now played Liverpool and got a decent performance, 2-0. I felt that they deserved maybe a little bit more out of that, but then they've gone and won a game. So there'll be some certain things that will be being talked about in the ballroom at this moment in time. But I thought that was a decent point for Forest, and so well played to them. Like, it'd be very, very interesting what happens there on Friday. Sunday's games, well, you know, Manchester City got through against Luton. Listen, Luton's a difficult place to go to, and nothing easy there. And any team that goes to Luton now, I think, is going to find it very, very difficult. And when you've got the teams at the top, like, that's the 3 teams that they've played at the top now: Arsenal, Liverpool and Manchester City. They've lost to Arsenal and Manchester City by the odd goal, and they drew with Liverpool. So listen, anybody going to Luton is going to have a very, very difficult time now, more so now than what they had when at 5 or 6 weeks or at the beginning of the season, because they're certainly now getting used to the Premier League, and they're a very, very well organised outfit, like, you know. So it'd be very, very interesting from that point of view there. The title race is hotting up now, isn't it, with Manchester City coming back into it. 3 points now behind Arsenal, 4 points behind Liverpool. Liverpool play Manchester United next week, which would be a very, very interesting game. Manchester United, of course, Bayern Munich in the week, and then Liverpool. I think Liverpool will win that quite comfortably after what I've seen, I'll be really honest. So I think Liverpool go into the game against us at least 1 point in front. So that game just before Christmas is now going to be massive. They've also got a European game in there, which they're already through in that, of course. Same as Arsenal, we've got European football this week. We'll talk about that in a second, but our games, of course, are dead rubber. So definitely hotting up the Premier League. And one thing I want to just say a little bit about Newcastle. Bit disappointed with them yesterday, like the way that they played. Eddie Howe turning around and saying that they've got you know, they're a little bit tired and things like that, when they brought a few players back yesterday from injury and all that. But that performance wasn't great, and they got a massive game in of course, against AC Milan this week on Wednesday. You know, if they don't win that, they don't qualify, and they've done really well to still be in the group, getting the result with PSG. Even though I think they deserve more out of that game. I know that they was under the pump, but that was never a penalty. Again, another VAR decision. Even in Europe, they're piss poor as well, aren't they? Like, you know, so. But I didn't think they put a performance up against Tottenham. Like, you know, Tottenham yesterday played well, got the result, and deservedly won the game. It could have been even more, if I'll be honest. Like, and you know, when Richarlison scoring a couple of goals, and now, but by the way, as a Spurs fan, reminded me he's got more than Martinelli this season. So, so Martinelli's performances have got to go up if that's the case. Like, you know, but a good result for them. Deserved win back after, I think, you know, was it four defeats and a draw. And puts them back in the frame for definitely the top 4 race. A couple of games now for Tottenham where they will look at it and say, you know, Notts Forest away, that they should get the 3 points there. Everton at home should get the 3 points there. So they should be back on course for over the next few games. And of course, the Spurs fans now will be going on about Ange Ball again and things like that, like, you know, and Spurs are back. One of my mates saying, we're back. Yeah, well done for that. Thanks for getting back. But Newcastle, I think, are under a little bit of pressure, Eddie. If they don't get into qualify for the Champions League and get knocked out in this group stage, the way they're playing at the moment, I can't see them getting in the top 4. They've not been at their best, so we'll have to wait and see what happens from there. I also think you have to have a little look at Chelsea again. Been a bad week for Chelsea. Defeat at Man United, and didn't play well in that game there. Now another one against Everton. You know, Pochettino, I think, is also under a little bit of pressure. Just can't get any consistency at Chelsea. Not say that we're disappointed by that, but I think that Chelsea have got their problems as well. You know, inconsistency. Do you know what? Speaking to a Chelsea fan yesterday, I was up in London. Looking at the Christmas lights, doing a bit of shopping yesterday, and bumped into a Chelsea fan who was working at Selfridges, and he turned around and said, it was a very, very good point. He said, he goes, God, I know how you guys felt for a few years when you was a good side, and then all of a sudden not winning games and being inconsistent, how frustrating it was. And I said, well, yeah, it was. And, you know, I look back at those times, and it was really, really tough times, and people criticise Mikel Arteta now, like, you know, and like I have done in the past as well, like, you know, but without a doubt, over the last couple of years, Mikel's took us to a place I didn't think that we was going to go, to be honest. And when you see other teams suffering like we did for a few years, you know, I don't think Mikel was getting the credit that he actually deserves. But yeah, Chelsea, all that money that they've spent, and players there that, you know, like Caicedo was one player that I was desperate to see at Arsenal, like, you know, looking a shadow of the player that he is at the moment, like, you know. So we'll see what's going to go on at Chelsea, but they can't keep changing chopping their manager around every 5 minutes, and I think they've got to stick with Pochettino, but I think it's a real difficult one for them. All in all, not a great week for the Arsenal, I have to say, and for ourselves, but for footballing wise, I thought some fantastic performances. VAR, bit like a few of the teams at the top there, Chelsea and Man United, very inconsistent and ruining the game of football. As we'll be here next week, and we'll be criticising VAR again. Now, just before talking about VAR, I watched the game between Arsenal and Chelsea ladies yesterday. Congratulations to Arsenal ladies, by the way. 4-1 win against Chelsea. Needed to win that game to go level with them, but didn't just beat them. They absolutely smashed them. Fantastic first half, fantastic goal. Some of the football in that game, by the way, was fantastic to watch. I really enjoyed the game. And one of the reasons that I enjoyed it was because there's no VAR. It was such a much more enjoyable game of football. There was a couple of decisions from both goals, really. One from Chelsea, one from Arsenal, that you could turn around and say VAR might have intervened. But I thought for a spectacle and a game of football, it was so much better to watch. Refereeing the game. Lauren James, by the way, if VAR was about, she would have been sent off. I think really the referee didn't really see it, but I think she got booked for it. But it was a breath of fresh air to watch a game of football like that, and I really enjoyed the game. Not just because Arsenal won, but I do think it was because there was no VAR, so if goals are given, they're given. The atmosphere was fantastic. 59,000 at that game. Women's football really going places at the moment. But I thought it was a really good game of football. I enjoyed it, and I think one of the reasons I enjoyed it was good VAR wasn't there. Anyway, leave your thoughts and comments. Thanks for being in the chat. We go again next week. Some interesting games next week, I think, realistically for me to look at, and for all you guys to look at. I think the Bayern Munich Man United game is one to look at, probably more than our one, because of we're already qualified. Newcastle versus AC Milan. I think that AC Milan have got to get something out of it, because they might not even get into the Europa League if they lose. So there's massive implications in that game as well. Of course, Europa League, I think Thursday, the one to look out for is Brighton Marseille, because both teams are qualified, but whoever wins that wins the group. And of course, if you win the group in the Europa League, then you don't have to go into playoff against the team dropping out of the Champions League. So a couple of extra games that Brighton won't want. So that'll be a very interesting game. And of course, some good games to look forward to next week. We'll catch you up in the week. We'll be doing some sort of stuff. Dan's been on holiday, so I think he's back today. So we get some stuff done this week. I'm off to Eindhoven tomorrow, and then back Wednesday. So I'm only over there for a day, and then we'll get some more content for you at the end of the week. But listen, have a great day today. Enjoy the week, and I'll catch you up very soon. I hope you enjoyed the weekend roundup.